For the first time ever, the Honda and Yas mechanics with, for the Yas mechanics not so, because of course they have been involved in the World Touring Car Championship before with the Honda Accord Euro R, but for the Japanese contingent here down from the Honda factory, this will be a first time they've been involved in repair time in the World Touring Car Championship. And that will start in just under a minute and a half. 15 minutes of repair time, which actually isn't 15 minutes because, you know, that's the way these things work. Essentially, the 15 minutes is from now, when repair time starts, in 1 minute and 10 seconds, to when the pit lane closes, by which time you must be out on the track on your way to the grid. And there is the chief designer of the car from Yas Sport, Andrea, working with Alessandro Mariani, who is the team principal. Technical director Stefano Fini, he's been responsible for all Yas's input into their touring cars since the team was started back in 2005. No, a long time before that. Team was founded in 1997. And Yas Sport have been Honda's representative in Europe basically right since the end of last century.
It's a good looking car as well, that Honda. It looks nice.
Yeah. Now obviously in the British Touring Car Championship, a lot of Hondas with Honda UK entry. Those cars originating from Swindon, and so is the body shell for these cars as well, because that is where the European spec Civics are built at Honda's big plant down there in Wiltshire. So a lot of British pride as well should be going into this. It's not just an international program, it's not an Italian thing, it's not a Japanese thing, it is a proper global effort. Ian Beveridge there from Yokohama in the black and white shirt, overseeing things for the Honda team as well. One of a number of Yokohama technicians that goes around and deals with all the team in a very open-handed and even manner with their control tyres.
We just had pictures of Norbert Miklis going up to talk to Tom Bourman. Norbert, what were you saying? You look quite angry.
No, I was not angry. I was just asking him if the fight was all right or not. Because it was very difficult to judge on the braking if I hit him or not. I just wanted to go up the inside, but as soon as I realized that we had a touch, I just didn't want him to lose the car. So I wanted to try to make a clean pass, but on this circuit, it's quite impossible.
So for race 2 then, again, same starting position for you. It's going to be another tricky one, right?
Yeah, second race is a standing start, so it could be possible to get some positions after the start, but the next part will be difficult for sure, because after the Chevys, I try to follow them, but obviously they have a much stronger pace, so I try to make the best out of the second race, but damage limitation is the key for us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, starting back in 14th place on both race grids, he's always going to be trying to work his way forward. And I mean, it's exactly what we thought. You know, he's gone just to say to Tom, look, I hope you're okay with that, because you know, he wasn't trying to punt him off. There was a tiny bit of contact a couple of times, but you know, it's almost unavoidable in touring car racing on such a tight circuit, Harry.
Yeah, I mean, well, look at them there. They're literally joined nose to tail, and completely unintentional, but still, you got to just keep your competitors sweet, because you don't know, next time Tom might be behind him and might decide to repay the favour, and I'm sure he won't be in there apologising for it.
No, well, that is, you know, also part of it. There's a little bit of mutual respect going on there, in the same way that you get in a cycling peloton, or, you know, like NASCAR are very, you know, keen on payback time, aren't they? But they've got 40-odd races in which to sort problems out. Here, you just don't have that amount of time. And close to the end of the championship, can't be affording to make any enemies.
You don't need that either. You want to concentrate on your own race. You don't want to be watching who's coming up behind you and think, oh no, he owes me one.
Yeah, nobody needs an unguided missile following them around. Well, Thiago Monteiro is getting back into the Honda Civic, so they are obviously pretty happy with the way everything has run so far. As we pointed out at the end of race 1, 10th place, first points for the programme on day 1. Well, day 2. Well, you know. First race day, first race, first point. So that's a great start for them. And of course, on the race 2 grid, he says, pulling it out from under the race 1 grid, Thiago starts in 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11th, as he did on the race 1 grid. Pole, incidentally, for race 1, the rolling start on driver's right, the inside line down to the right-hander at the first corner. For the standing start in race 2, it's on the outside. Let's hear now from Tom Boardman. He's with Ben.
So we just talked to the pursuer, but the man doing the defence was Tom Boardman. A few bits of orange on the back of your car. That was tricky, wasn't it?
It was a tricky one, yeah. It's not how I wanted the race to go, because I thought everyone would make a lot more mistakes, but it didn't seem to happen like that. Everyone seemed to be pretty cautious, really. And basically, everyone went into the first corner a lot more sensible than I thought, so it was kind of just like try and get a good position somewhere and see if it makes ground anyway. I think a couple of cars got past me, and yeah, Mitchellis, if I can remember, I managed to get past him, and I knew he was behind me. And yeah, he was just really fast into the first corner, and I could see it every lap, he was just coming up, touching my back, and it was just making me go sideways, but there was nothing I could do because I was slower into the first corner, he was faster, but everywhere else I was faster than him. So it's just one of the things, it was a hard race, it was one of the hardest races, trying to keep him off with a BM, because I knew he was going to come stronger and stronger, but my trusty see it, man. When she gets in a slide, she's all right, man.
Thanks very much.
Cheers.
Great stuff. And you know, and he was holding it, and that's, you know, the basic fundamental difference between how the Seat works and how the BMW works is the BMW carries more, and we've seen it so many times when we had the factory Seats with the turbo diesel especially versus the factory BMWs. The BMW would be hot into the middle of the corner and the Seat would be slow into the middle and pick up earlier on the exit, and the BMW was always stymied from carrying speed where it needed to because the Seat was slow in the midpoint of the corner. And that's just the fundamental difference between the two cars, and it remains the same. Well, there are your championship standings after 19 of our 24 races. Race 20 will be coming up in less than 15 minutes here at Suzuka.
The road to freedom. Japan quality. Yokohama. Your tire.
Follow the score of your favorite team live and find the latest results and features with Eurosport's Live Score.
With Eurosport.com's free application available on tablets and smartphones, gain access to all the articles and videos from Eurosport.com, plus get the latest news in real time. Check out the latest results, fixtures and tables, and follow your favourite sports events live.
On the glory trail at the GT Academy. Lucas Ordonez was top driver in 2008. In 2010, it was Jordan Tresson. And Jan Mardenborough was last year's winner. So who's next? Who'll be the #1 in 2012? The GT Academy, race to Dubai, Tuesday at 2300 on Eurosport.
From virtual to real, Nissan presents GT Academy Race to Dubai.
The WTCC is brought to you by Euronics, best of electronics.
Ford's Tom Chilton comes over the rise at corner 4, down to 5 and 6. And because of the engine change for both Aon team Fords, both focuses starting right at the tail of the grid. A lot of Japanese eyes on this car with the Portuguese flag alongside it, the Honda Civic of Tiago Monteiro. And let's hear now from Yas Sports' Alessandro Mariani.
The first repair time for the Honda team is just coming to an end. Alessandro, must have been a very important moment for you because you could actually have a chance to check the car, get it out back on circuit.
Yes, today was a good day. Yesterday was not a good day because in qualifying we didn't show well the potential of the car. Today they think that during the race we could show that we are in the pace. Of course we need a lot of development still. But the car was reliable, very solid in the lap performance, so we are pretty happy about the job that we did.
And also the car had its first bit of contact with another car as well. Was it okay?
It's strong enough for the moment, but I don't know how much was the force or the impact. But yes, we were in the race, and it's the first time, so we need all the team has needed to take experience, also racing with the other, with the modification of the track during the race weekend. We are here just to learn, and so after taking a scoring point in the first event is really important.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Alessandro, always good for a chat, and very interesting for the team to see just how the car works, because Harry, testing is one thing, but when you actually get into a race, no matter how much you try and simulate race pace and the way you drive in testing, you don't, because you always end up coming into the pits for this, that and the other, and you put up with stuff in a racing car in a race that you wouldn't put up with in testing or in practice or in qualifying. You'd come in and change it. You've got to live with stuff during a race, and they're now again on, you know, from ground zero, starting to learn all that stuff about this Civic.
Yeah, you're right. Testing, you kind of drive into a line and to a program, but in the race, you know, you're doing what you can to try and get ahead of whoever's in front of you, and you're taking all sorts of weird and wonderful lines and braking in ridiculous places and going on the grass and all sorts of stuff. So it's difficult to simulate an actual race in testing.
You're taking hits, you're taking damage, as you say. Yeah, other people modify your line for you by being where they're being and by you needing to try and either keep them behind or get in front of them. So like the Ford team have started this season, so Honda are ending with a clean sheet of paper and adding information as they go, and that's all vital for their start of a full-time campaign at the beginning of 2013. And of course, for Ford next year, they'll start to go back to places they've already visited and have some idea of what they're doing.
Japan quality. Yokohama, your tire. Additives and motor oils made in Germany. Liqui Moly.
ATS high-tech wheels, world champions with Chevrolet.
The road to freedom. Japan quality. Yokohama. Your tire.
Shanghai. There There are many reasons to visit the cultural center of Eastern Asia and China's most vibrant city. And this November, there's yet another. The FIA World Touring Car Championship debuts at the Shanghai International Circuit. Come and share the excitement of a weekend of unforgettable racing in an unforgettable city. The FIA WTCC in Shanghai, from the 2nd to the 4th of November.
Liqui Moly. Additives and motor oils made in Germany.
The WTCC is brought to you by Euronics, best of electronics.
The grid is all but complete here at Suzuka. We are getting ready for round 20 of the FIA World Touring Car Championship on the Suzuka East Circuit. Martin Haven and Harry Folkard ready to enjoy the action from race 2. Another 26 laps. Now this will be at least the third time that Stefano D'Aste has started a second race from pole position. The first time was in Porto last year in the Turbo BMW. Didn't end up winning that one. Started another one at least once this year on pole position for race 2. Has yet to win a race. I wonder if this is going to be the one that works for him. This, of all tracks, Harry, this is kind of a little bit like Monaco, if you like. If you get in front in the first corner, it's going to be hard to get by.
Definitely, yeah. You've hit the nail on the head there, and obviously he's a lone BMW right up there at the front. He's got Banani about 3 places behind him, but if he'll obviously get away well off the line being rear-wheel drive, and he just has to kind of keep his head clear and, you know, not chuck it off. But I don't know, I thought there was going to be a lot more carnage in the first race, so I don't want to tempt fate, but I just had a feeling.
Ladies and gentlemen, Harry Volkard ventures into curse of the commentator territory for the first time. Well, Stefano D'Aste is best placed to try and avoid that. Not only is he on pole, but he's got a quick starting BMW ahead of a bunch of rear-wheel drive cars. Fourth on the grid is Tom Coronel, the next best BMW, and from there Coronel has got to fancy his chances of winning another race in Japan. Further back are Huff, Muller and Menu, 8th, 9th and 10th, ahead of Thiago Monteiro. And again, Montero's target here, A, learn lots, but B, pick up at least one place, get into those points somewhere if he can. Franz Sengster, Norbert Mikulits, 13th and 14th, they will desperately be looking to move forward and keep their positions strong in the Yokohama Independent Trophy race. Engsler in 5th place now, behind 3rd place Alex McDowell and 4th place Stefano D'Aste. And Rennie Munich dropping towards the tail of the grid. So not quite sure why he is further back than Nash, Chilton, Cherki. But that's the way the grid is formed up. So there you can see Daryl O'Young's car, and Daryl returning to Bamboo Engineering. Of course, he came into the Touring Car Championship last year with the team 2 years ago now. And he'll be with the team for the rest of the season, Harry?
Yeah, he's staying with Bamboo for the rest of the season. I think he signed a contract. I was actually sent him a message on Facebook last night to see how he was doing and see what his thoughts were. But I know he was a little bit disappointed with his qualifying effort, and he made a bit of a mistake. So I think he was a little bit frustrated, really. But
well, do you know? I mean, it's a front-wheel drive car with a 1.6 litre turbo engine. How different can it be? Well, the same as your road car is different from your neighbour's road car, even though it's probably a front-wheel drive car and might even have the same size engine, because they're different, because they're different lengths, they're different weights, they've got different track, they've got different wheelbase, they've got different everything. Everything is different. And so, of course, you know, he's had a testing session and 2 sessions of free practice to really dial himself back into the car and then get the ultimate out of it in qualifying. Of course he's going to be not where he would have been if he'd been driving it all year long. It's going to take him a weekend or two to get right back on it, but I'm sure he'll be, you know, further forward again in China and further forward again when they get to Macau. Of course, he celebrated getting married in one of our little gaps during the season, so he's a happy bunny as well. Because he travels so much and races so much, I have to say I have never met his fiancée, or who's now his wife. So one day, somewhere at a race circuit, we may bump into her, and then we'll find out who Mrs. O'Young is.
Yeah, I'm sure Amber will be at Macau, and we've seen Darrell in Macau in the past. He's always been rapid there. He's been really, really quick, because obviously he only lives in Hong Kong, and you know, I'm not sure if he goes and does a bit of practice during the season and drives around the streets like a lunatic, but certainly seems to know the place well.
I think it's just one of those tracks that he really, really gets on with, and it happens to be a street circuit. It happens to be vaguely close to where he lives, but that doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, you'll either like it or be fast there. But he definitely is. Well, Rob Huff is the furthest forward of our 3 RML factory Chevy drivers. Menu starts 10th, Muller starts 9th, Huff starts 8th on the grid. I wonder if anybody's awake still in the Huff household. I gather that there was a degree of wine partaken of last night, which is really clever when you've got to set the alarm for 4 a.m. Girls, eh? What can you do? I know, Rob. You know.
These guys are, they're, you know, without doing the old commentator's curse, that's one thing. They're right in the mix there. That's where it's going to go off, if it's going to go off, so they're going to have to keep their noses clean and stay out of any of that stuff.
A little bit of the tank tape used to reattach or firmly attach the bumper on the back of Alex McDowell's car. You don't want bits coming loose. Why don't you want bits coming loose? Because they have a habit of dragging you into the pit lane to fix them, and that's not a good thing in a race. When Alex is having as good a race weekend as this, so Richard Coleman there in the background overseeing things, they want to make sure that they give him every opportunity to really build on that, and that's exactly why they're paying so much attention to what seems like, you know, cosmetics on the car, because cosmetics can turn into something very vital later on. Mehdi Banani starting in 6th position, and he'll be hoping again. I mean, he looked very strong in race 1 until that contact with Dudicalo put him into the pit lane, and he'll be hoping for less of that. And from 6th again, row 3 on the grid, rear-wheel drive BMW, he'll be hoping to be top 3 or 4 into the first corner. So look to all these rear-wheel drive cars at the start. And this man, Tarquini, he can outstart in a front-wheel drive car most rear-wheel drive BMWs. Often, I think, surely he's got four-wheel drive hidden somewhere in that car at the start, particularly in the standing start. I don't know what it is, and he doesn't know what it is either. He just, well, I'm not doing anything different to anybody else.
Yeah, you're right. He's an absolute weapon off the start and off the line. He's always right up there. And like you say, we've seen it quite a few times where he's actually outrun a BMW, which is amazing, really.
Yeah, I mean, so much experience, you know, inside that Spider-Man helmet, and so much ability. He can never be ruled out of contention. Tom Coronel as well. Are we going to see victory here? I know Tom's wife, girlfriend Pauline, partner Pauline, and Coco watching at home. I'm sure Tim will be keeping a weather eye on things as well. And yeah,
you've got to fancy Tom for this. I think actually he's probably the most best placed BMW, I guess, with the experience of winning an outright race as well. And you know, I'm sure he's hungry for it. And he has this thing about Japan. He keeps coming here and winning.
Alexei Dudicalo, good starting position for him. Third position. Harry, you have your teeth back, I'll have mine. Third position on the grid, third place on the grid. And don't forget, he has finished strongly before now. And this is a great opportunity for the Russian to get himself onto the outright podium. If he can have a good start here, he's got a very good chance. Car didn't look quite as quick as the top half dozen or so in the race, in race one, but being at the front in a slow car, or slower car, is better than being further back in a slower car, Harry. As numerous winners at Monaco have shown us, it's not always the fast car that wins, it's the car that gets in front that tends to win.
I think Pep Ariola needs some new gloves for Christmas. They've got some holes in them.
Now, that's not the sort of thing that you ought to be showing to a TV camera, because stewards have a habit of noticing stuff like that and fining you later on. Charles Eng, was it Charles Eng? Somebody has racked up a lot of speeding fines this weekend. It may not have been Charles, but that seems to be the name that's coming to the forefront of my mind. Anyway, on the forefront of the grid is Stefano D'Aste. Now, big weekend for him when we were in Salzburg. I wonder if he can do it again. That would be a really big opportunity for him to go out and take a second outright win. He won race 2 in Salzburg, remember, when there were all those dramatic tyre problems right at the end of the race, and he scrambled to the line first. And that perhaps was redemption for having what was a win at Spa taken away from him many moons ago. Now he's got a chance to win here again.
ATS high-tech wheels, world champions with Chevrolet.
Shanghai. There are many reasons to visit the cultural center of Eastern Asia and China's most vibrant city. And this November, there's yet another. The FIA World Touring Car Championship debuts at the Shanghai International Circuit. Come and share the excitement of a weekend of unforgettable racing in an unforgettable city. The FIA WTCC in Shanghai, from the 2nd to the 4th of November.
Japan quality. Yokohama, your tire.
So it is Stefano D'Aste from Pepe Oriola, Alexei Dudicalo and Tom Coronel, your front four. Gabriele Tarquini in 5th. Meshti Banani in 6th position, leading our field of 23 starters away. Norbert Mikulits, the Yokohama Independent points leader, starts back down in 14th place. And this is a chance really for Pepe Oriola to close there. You can see pro team, the Vika Sport team, I beg your pardon, Stefano D'Aste's crew. Well, they had a surprise win in race 2 at Salzburg in Austria. I wonder if they can do it here again in Japan. That would be a very big, happy party, I'm suggesting. May or may not go to the Bamboo Hut later on. I would think it would probably start pretty soon after the car returns to Parc Fermé and continue long into the night. There'll be some very weary mechanics at Vika Sport if they manage to pull off a win here. You can see the afternoon sun, the shadows definitely lengthening as the sun heads down. And there's our world champion, our reigning world champion, the man who's going for his 4th World Championship title, 3rd consecutive, Yvonne Muller. He starts in 10th place as Stefano D'Aste leads the cars as gingerly as he can to the grid. It seems like they've taken a shortcut, doesn't it? It's such a short lap here, just 2.2 kilometres, 1.4 miles.
There's obviously a lot of rubbish on the grid there off the line, because you can see them all like line astern down the straight there. Nobody's even popped out till they absolutely have to.
The drivers might be feeling a little tense. I tell you what, though, the teams definitely are. Did you see that blowing out of cheeks at Vika Sport? Come on, boys, breathe. There's 26 laps of this. You can't hold your breath the whole way round. So Stefano D'Aste is on pole position. The final few cars, Alberto Cerchi coming to the grid. You saw it's a slight uphill grid here as they just get up to the end of the shadow. Cars being held on the brakes. Revs rising, here we go. 5 red lights will come on, green flag waves, we are ready to rock and roll. Away they go, let's see who makes a good start. There comes Coronel. And it is D'Aste who will lead to the first corner. Oriola tries to cut him. In fact, it's Bernani who comes through. Bernani is going to go second, is he? Oriola's on the inside on the curbs. Oriola's going to run out wide, so will Bernani. Coronel and Dudicalo looking to go through in the 2 red and white cars. It is Oriola who's second. It's Dudicalo. No, it's Tarquini who is third, not Coronel and Dudicalo, Tarquini and Dudicalo, Tarquini up to third, and Michaelis is off, and that is a major blow for the independent championship leader, a really major blow.
His bad weekend's just getting worse and worse, isn't it? He's going to wish he'd never come here.
Tyre mark on the right rear door, so there was contact with somebody, as is inevitable. Huff is ahead of Menu and Muller, and that's great news for Rob Huff, that Menu has stayed or got in front of Ivan Muller. So it is D'Aste who leads. Oriola top in second place, rather. Top independent is D'Aste. Oriola in second. Tarquini third. Then Bernani defending from Dudicalo. Dudicalo can't get it done. Huff up to 6th already. And you've got a sense that Dudicalo might be easy pickings in the next half lap, except the yellow flags are out now. They're into sector 2. Between corner 1 and 2 is where sector 2 starts. And you then go green further up the hill, do you? Where is Michaelis' car off? Haven't seen yet, haven't been able to identify which gravel trap he's in. Look how dusty it is when somebody goes offline and picks up the dirt. D'Aste is definitely, Harry, trying to get away fast here, isn't he?
Yeah, he's going to want to build a little gap and then just sort of like run the race from the front, keep an eye on his mirrors and just, you know, control it from the front.
Menu's going to have to be careful. He just set a fastest second sector time of the race for anyone in sector 2 where the yellow flags are out. In Formula 1 that would be an automatic penalty. Not an automatic penalty necessarily here, but you have to be careful. You are supposed to lift off where there are yellow flags, not just pay attention. You're actually supposed to slow down off racing speed. Well, we're looking forward now at Alain Menu and Rob Huff right in front of him. Huff in a tough position here because, of course, Menu and Muller want to make progress, as does Huff, but Huff's the one who has to force his way through that battle between Bernani and Dudicalo. And as we saw from race 1, Bernani and Dudicalo do not spend much time apart from each other.
It's also difficult from Rob's position because if he goes to make a move and doesn't manage to make is that Dudicalo off in the background?
Yes, it was. Dudicalo ran wide. I was just noticing that Oriola set a fastest last sector to close right up on D'Aste. Tarquini's third, Bernani's fourth, Huff is fifth, and in the background, Boardman with his teammate, or his Seat rival, let's say, Hiroki Yoshimoto, and still wheel to wheel. Oh no, it's not, it's Tiago. Sorry, white car with black centre. I was thinking was Yoshimoto's Seat. It's not, that's further back. It is Tiago who is battling with the special tuning Seat. Tiago 11th, Tom in 12th, looking back at him there. And Daryl Young's got up into 13th in front of Alberto Cerchi. And Alex McDowell looking strong as well, just in front of them. Didn't make a great move up the grid from his starting position, Alex, but he's staying away in the bottom of the top 10.
Yeah, it's what's happened to Michelis, isn't it?
Yep. Who are we on board with, though? There's the question. Choose from Montero. Was that a Montero on board? Wasn't Tarquini or Huff or Muller? Who was further back? Nash?
It looked like either a Seat or possibly the Honda from the car shot.
In which case, I think it may have been Montero. Battle for fourth place. We're on board with Rob Huff. Ooh. No, not a left rear puncture on the BMW. Something out. Oh, and Oriola is having a look at the lead. Stefano D'Aste under real pressure onto the straight. Oriola almost opening up into turn 8. The BMW is very defensive. D'Aste does not have the speed. Oriola does. And here comes Tarquini, who can smell blood in the water. Coronel, incidentally, who was your bet for a win here, is way down the order.
Yeah, he's
right down the order. Maybe that was Coronel's on board then.
Yeah, possibly. Maybe he's, if he's got into the side of Michelit's.
Coronel in 19th place. So I don't know what happened to Tom at the start, Pauline, I'm afraid. But was that Tom's on board? Well, D'Aste just holding on from Oriola, but Tarquini is there, Bernani, and here come Huff and Menu and Muller. And every one of these cars that Huff can get by without leaving the door open behind him for Menu and Muller to follow is extra points for Huffy. And so he'll be looking really determinedly to try and pick up a place, but at the moment the 3 RML Chevrolets not quite close enough to challenge the BMW in front of Mehdi Bernani for that 4th place, as D'Aste has stabilised the advantage over Oriola. There can't be too many more laps where Oriola's tyres are going to be the equal of those on D'Aste's BMW. So D'Aste may just have survived the moment of high crisis. D'Aste, Oriola got very close to taking the lead a couple of laps ago, and Harry, it does look as though D'Aste has... He's very sideways though, isn't he?
He's always on the edge, D'Aste. He's an exciting guy to watch, but sometimes it bites him.
Yeah. Right on the edge there, right at the top of the hill, that turn 7 left-handed to the beginning of turn 8, the car really steps out on him. It doesn't like making that transition.
I wonder if he made a little mistake before when Oriola looked like he'd got up the inside.
It was probably a more exaggerated version of what we just saw, I think. So many things to watch in the queue, we always almost inevitably end up watching the car that's not doing something instead of the car that is. Massive queue of cars here. We're with Muller in 7th place. There is not more than a couple of tenths between any of these cars. And you wonder now how much longer the Chevys will be able to continue pushing. They are now right with Bernani. Huff is right up behind the BMW. D'Aste, Oriola, the red and white car, Tarquini in 3rd. Of course, Harry, the further you get up the order, the bigger the points gain over rivals who are behind you. It sort of increases as you go up the order, so every place is really worth fighting for. And here comes Huff. He's having a little look. Oh, he's having a concerted little look, making sure he keeps the door shut on the inside while letting Bernani know he's definitely there or thereabouts.
Yeah, he'll be trying to push Bernani into a move. I think if he makes Bernani go defensive or possibly push him into a mistake, I think that's probably what Rob's trying to do there, rather than put himself in a compromised position. 2
things Rob can't afford to do: touch Bernani so that the BMW spins out in one of those situations, because that's a guaranteed drive-through. He knows it, you know it, I know it. The other thing is he can't miscue a touch. Tarquini just hit that tyre stack, didn't he, with the Seat?
Yeah, I think so.
He can't miscue a move, because then Menu and critically Muller will go straight by him like he stood still.
Yeah, exactly, and it's a difficult position for him to be in, because he has to think ahead and behind.
I think Tarquini took the cover off the mirror or something. There was a bit of red and white flicked up there, and it doesn't seem to come from the bumper. Gabrielli got in desperately deep there into turn 1. Did you see the smoke coming off that tyre?
Yeah.
He is worried about Bernani. He is really worried about Bernani. He must be sitting there going, come on, Rob, please, pass Bernani. But probably in an Italian accent rather than somebody who comes from the Swansea area, which is that. On board here with Thiago Montero. Is this the same on board that we were watching getting into the back of Engsa? I do think into Michelitz. I do think it was.
Yeah, I think it is. I think you're right.
Fastest first sector of the race from Ivan Muller last time round on the back of that Chevy Trio. Huff is sticking his nose out. I wonder if Huff is worrying a little bit about temperature. Just cooling the engine perhaps as he comes down the straight.
That's interesting that all three Chevrolets there were fast. Ivan's just done the fastest lap of the race, where on lap 10 in race 1 they were, you know, a good second off the pace.
Well, also Darrell O'Young just setting his fastest first sector of the race on that last lap as well. So it's not just the blue Chevys that are going well, the yellow and white ones also quick. Alex McDowell just ahead of this little battle as you look inside the Yas Honda garage, and there outside is Thiago Monteiro, working hard to try and move by Franz Engsler and get back into the points for 10th, and a slide from Engsler there, really drilling the throttle out of 8, and it just crested the rise and the tail drifted out a little. Doesn't give Thiago enough of a run. Here comes Tarquini. Now, is that a defensive move, or is he suggesting to Pepe Oriola that it's time to poop or get off the seat? I don't know. Tarquini looks like he could go quicker. He definitely looks like he could go quicker now. Well, Harry, you did say race 1 far less. I mean, actually, there's any number of touring cars that had far less carnage than race 1 last year, because race 1 last year, turn 1 last year, was an absolute disaster area, turn 1 and 2 for half a dozen cars. But again, everybody really minding their P's and Q's here.
Yeah, there's not really been that much going on really, except for the first lap. It's kind of fairly stagnant, I would say. It is a shame. I mean, it kind of creates this sort of racing because of the nature of the corners, but.
Well, we are still only halfway through. Lots of time for tyre wear, brake wear to raise its ugly head, particularly for the front-wheel drive cars, you might suspect. There is the black car of Tom Boardman, right behind him Darrell O'Young, right behind him Alberto Cerchi, and in the background behind Coronel, James Nash was again defending from Fernando Monche, Charles Eng and Tom Chilton in that queue as well.
Tom Boardman's going to be thinking, I'm sick of looking in my mirrors after defending.
Oh, and that was...
that was Munich.
Yeah, René Munich. See, red and yellow and white say, I'm going, oh, there's Darrell. Of course, it's not Darrell. It is Darrell's car, or was Darrell's car, but it's not Darrell O'Young anymore. He's in that white and yellow car. Right in the middle of this battle for 12th place. And of course, particularly for the independents, it's not about your overall position as much as your position compared to your independent trophy championship rivals.
Yeah, exactly. There's no point for, you know, if you're battling with a manufacturer, there's no point in getting your nose dirty, and that really you don't need to if you're ahead of your rival. That's the key thing for the independents.
Now let's do some maths while this mainly visual sketch continues. Norbert Mikulec started this race 20 points in front of Pepe Oriola. Top independent in the race is Stefano D'Aste, 10 points for him. Second place, Pepe Oriola, 8 points for him. So he, if he stays where he is, will close the gap on Mikulec to 12 points, not the 25 that it was at the beginning of the weekend. That's how important the weekend this could end up being. There are the two Fords, Nash, oh no, it's not the two Fords, it is Nash and Monche, and then Charles Eng, and Tom Chilton is just behind them with Hiroki Yoshimoto. James Nash doing a lot of defending this weekend. So the Ford Focus could definitely do with some useful horsepower, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of head scratching going on over the winter in the Aon Ford team looking to progress that car.
I wonder if they're having to run a little bit like down on power to preserve it, because obviously both cars had an engine change after the Sonoma round, so I wonder if they're just...
James Nash in the Aon Ford defending hard from Fernando Monche. Tom Chilton trying to get involved in that battle as well, just tantalisingly creeping up behind them. Meanwhile, top 5 cars now together, and Rob Huff has resorted to the old headlight flashing technique to try and dazzle, bedazzle or confuse Mehdi Banani. And Harry, sometimes, you know, you watch from the outside, I'm sure a lot of people on their couch think, you know, flashing the headlights at somebody, it might make somebody move over on the motorway. It's not going to make a racing driver move over. So what's that all about?
I think it's just to distract. I mean, people do it for various reasons, I guess, but some people might get affected by it, but I think you just have to ignore it, really. But I suppose what it does do, it makes you more aware that someone's behind you, and, you know, it gets you thinking about the guy behind, so, you know, it might push you into making a mistake, but really, I'm not 100% convinced.
It's all about the concentration levels, isn't it? You're just trying to catch him fractionally, just distract him for a fraction at a critical point. You know, often it doesn't happen down the straight. Often it's just as the guy's getting onto the brakes. You want something to be glittering in his mirrors. There's Pepe's dad. Now, he said he would give up smoking when Pepe won a race. Now, last time Pepe was second, he said, I'm going to give up. I have seen him since with a cigar in his hand. So you can see the Vika Sport team holding their breath. You can see Pepe's dad going, no, my beautiful cigars, no. Oh, and Hiroki Yoshimoto gets a little wide in 8, and it never gets less wide in 8B. Off he goes. Bit of rally crossing and rejoins. That's, of course, the exit of the famous, infamous chicane at Suzuka, the scene of so many contretemps over the years. And our top, what is it now, 7 cars, all in one queue, tied together by a little bit of bungee, except Daste looked under pressure last lap, has just put in a nice, clean, tidy lap. And a 55.3 to the 55.6 of Oriola means that Oriola is on the back foot and defending against Tarquini. Pepe goes in shallow.
Oh, he's lost it.
A tiny touch. He didn't lose it. He was helped into it. Another touch from Gabrielli. Again, Gabrielli is not a punt and pass, but he is a touring car racer. And if he can find an advantage, my goodness, he shaved that tyre stack as well, Gabrielli. If he can find an advantage, he will. And of course, he has to, because he's got Bernani trying to, you know, kick the door in and get through as well. And Bernani has to get on with it because he's got Huff, and Huff has to get on with it because of Menu. Menu has to get on with it because of Muller. Muller's the only man who's got nobody up his backside trying to push.
Yeah, exactly. He has to. You can see, look how close Bernani is now. So he has to make this move, or he's in risk of Bernani making a move on him.
Yeah, if you're not going forward, you're in danger of going backwards, definitely. Now, again, look at the Seat's engine. I tell you what, there's not much wrong with the Oreca engine in that Seat.
Yeah,
it is absolutely steaming. We've seen it up against the Chevys. Now, whether the Chevy has the best engine in the field or not is an entirely moot point, because it's, you know, we don't bench test the engines against each other. But not much wrong with the engine in those Seats, that's for sure.
It was quite interesting, actually, when we saw Sunred and the new Seat next to each other. Obviously, the Sunred struggled with its engine for a long period, but on the straight earlier on, they were pretty evenly matched.
Yeah, no, it looks definitely like the development work has gone on very strongly at Lehman's on that engine as well. 2 different 1.6 turbo engines, Sunred using one engine, and the Lukoil team using an Oreca built engine. And Fernando Monche has dropped out of that battle with James Nash. Now, what's happened to him? Doesn't look like major damage, so that means, generally speaking, since nothing's fallen off, it's electronics, isn't it?
Yeah.
So the engine has possibly done something to itself that it didn't ought to, because these engines, the turbos particularly, run at such extreme temperatures that you need very sophisticated electronics to make sure the thing just doesn't go off like a small grenade.
It's also difficult getting the cooling in, because you don't want too much air getting under the bonnet, because effectively it's working like a big parachute, and it's an aerodynamicist's worst nightmare.
We were talking about turbos earlier in the year, me and Matt Neal, and the turbo gets so hot that the turbo mounting under braking actually expands and stretches, and the turbo moves forward because the metal is almost literally molten. It's so hot. It's an insane amount of temperature under these bonnets. Nevertheless, with all these turbocharged engines, we have certainly not seen any Formula 1 turbo engine style explosions. I think, again, the electronics are so much of a reason for that. You know, these cars are very well fueled, very well cooled by the fuel, as well as powered by the fuel.
Yeah, they'll all have different settings on the steering wheel, so like on their in laps they'll run them pretty rich to get as much fuel through the turbo to cool it down. And it sounds silly putting fuel in it to cool it, but
got to do something.
Yeah.
Got to do something. Well, Stefano D'Aste still leading, and it does look, in fact, the bit that I thought flew off Tarquini's car was Stefano D'Aste's door mirror that was bouncing in the air. Look, the right-hand side door on that tyre stack at turn 8. I think he's taken the mirror off it, the race leader. Pepe Oriola in second. Tarquini still in third, ahead of Bernani, Huff, Menu and Muller. And then the next queue, as was, Alexei Dudicalo, and then Alex McDowell ahead of this group of cars. Boardman pulling away from Oyoung, Cherki and Coronel. Tom Coronel, far from getting a great start, practically stalled the car as the lights went out, and that is why he is coming from behind. Only 15th here, a race that might, could have, should have possibly yielded him a win in Japan. So he'll be a very frustrated boy, having saved tyres from last time out for Japan. I'm not sure that will have helped him much.
I wonder what actually happened at the start, if he bogged down or...
Yeah, I think it looks like he pretty much stalled the car at the start, so probably just didn't quite get that balance between power and grip right. D'Aste pulling away, over a second clear now, and that may be, at one stage Menu was 1.09 in front. That's almost the biggest lead we've seen anybody open up here. He's 1.06 ahead of Pepe Oriola, and that gap is growing as Tarquini is starting to really push Oriola very hard for second place. Bernani is still right there behind Tarquini's red and white Seat as well. We know there's not a lot going on in terms of overtaking, and you think perhaps as a fan sitting on your sofa that it's when it's wheel to wheel and cars are crossed up and everything's locked up that it's hardest work for the driver. But in fact, mentally, this is probably even harder, because this is like playing chess against Big Blue, but at 140 miles an hour.
Yeah.
You really are working in tiny fractions here.
And while it's difficult to overtake, it's so close. It's very easy to make a mistake.
Oh! And Huff is inside Bernani and goes through, and Menu goes around as well. Get the door shut, Mehdi, says Rob. Yes, he does. He keeps Muller behind at least for one corner. Huff moves up. Just as we were saying, well, we're starting to wind up to not much is happening, and that's again a big drift there from Oriola. Got very sideways, Tarquini, and again very sideways. Oriola's out of rear tyres.
Yeah, I think you're right. And Tarquini had a big slide on the way in there as well.
That was punching the rear off the curbs there, wasn't it? He was tucking in so tight. And Muller behind Bernani, and Mehdi will not want to give that place away. I think drivers are starting to get quite bored of being rolled over by the Chevys as they come through in race 2 grids. Now then, for second place, Tarquini all over Oriola. Huff might get onto the podium here, but again, I go back to what I said earlier, cannot afford to make contact and knock somebody off, even unintentionally, cannot afford to lose positions here either. 4th is better than 5th, is better than 6th, is better than 7th. 3rd would be great, but it's going to be tough.
Yeah, this is Muller's worst nightmare, this, isn't it, really? If he can't get past Bernani, he's only got a lap to do it as well.
Well, lap 25 of 26 is fast approaching its end. We're rattling through them quickly, aren't we? 26 laps of Monza or Spa will take a long while. That's getting on for a third of a Grand Prix. Here, it's a sprint race. D'Aste leads. Pepe Oriola in second place. D'Aste now with a 2.6 second lead. That's how much the pace has slowed down. Muller gets by Bernani, and Bernani in the end had to let him go.
He didn't even really seem to fight it, did he?
Muller doesn't take no for an answer very often, does he? And everybody in the paddock knows that. If Muller is determined to get by, he will start using the crowbar. D'Aste leads, pulling away on his way to, I like the sound of this, win number 2 of the season for D'Aste and Vika Sport, not just in the Yokohama Trophy, but outright here. And this time, it's no last lap fluke.
Yeah, he's driven really well, hasn't he? He's not really put a foot wrong. He made a minor little error at the start, but recovered well from it and thoroughly deserves that win. There's the flag.
Yep. Checkered flag is out. Victory for Stefano D'Aste. Pepe Oriola clings on to second place, equals his best ever World Touring Car result. Gabriele Tarquini third, fourth for Rob Hoff. Hey! Well, there's no swimming pool here to be jumping into like there was in Portimao. But, rather disappointingly, there is, of course, the banana hut. Oh dear, oh dear. You are looking there at a very happy gentleman in the early stages of the most monstrous hangover. I really don't want to think what state Pepe's dad is going to be in by tomorrow morning. And Stefano D'Aste, well, again, for Vika Sport, the party starts here. You know, it's a tiny team in terms of, you know, global span or anything else. It is just one little family, and boy, don't they love it when things go well.
Yeah, obviously D'Aste's been with them a long time as well, so there's obviously a lot of mutual respect, and there'll be good friends in that team as well.
Well, they are former Yokohama Trophy champions together, and it's not beyond the bounds of possibility, still just about, that he could feature again in Macau. Whatever. To say that Salzburg was a fluke, it wasn't so much a fluke. He was in the position that he needed to be in to capitalise, but with the tyres tyre problems that the front-wheel drive cars had, it in the end came his way rather than theirs. But you have to be there to win it. And here again, another good qualifying run. Got into Q2, ended up on pole position, did not squander it. Good control, good effort from Stefano D'Aste. So win number 2 of the season, goodness me. And again for Pepe Oriola, another second place podium finish. I was trying to think earlier on when I was talking about it where it was, and it was only seeing his dad celebrate that reminded me of the swimming pool in Portimao, so that's where it was. I just checked the notes, it was indeed in Portimao. And Gabriele Tarquini, well, one of the hardest fought third places that he'll have had in a long while. Stefano D'Aste, our race winner. Come here, son. Good job by Pepe Oriola, really good job, lots and lots of pressure. Almost got in a position to win that. 3 or 4 laps in, looked like he might win it. D'Aste just had enough to hold him off. But Pepe's time is coming, no question about that. Well, it's taking 2 people to get the window net out of the way. This is why he doesn't have to climb out the door like a NASCAR race winner. Here is our victor in round 20, as he was in Austria. He is in Suzuka in Japan. Race winner, Stefano D'Aste.
That's it. That's some suit, that is, isn't it?
It is. And of course in America he had the Uncle Sam with the red and white striped leggings and the star-spangled jacket as well. Purpose made just for that visit to America. Wait, yeah. Don't forget the flag, and don't forget we need you to talk to Ben as well. And as he is our independent trophy winner, that cuts down the interviewing duties as well. There's Gabriele Tarquini. He looks pretty happy as well. Yeah, it's not often you see Gabriele looking really despondent. You know, it's been a tough day in the office when he's not smiling like a Cheshire cat.
Yeah, he's a real professional, isn't he? Even if he's had a really bad weekend, he can put a positive spin on it, and he's not whinging and moaning.
He's just one of those guys who's always looks cheerful. Just always does. He's just got that sunny disposition. You can see Ben is down there, and Thomas, the cameraman. There's Giancarlo, Gabriele's engineer, offering his congratulations.
Race 2 here in Suzuka. Stefano D'Aste holding on from start to finish, but it was holding on at points, wasn't it?
After race 1, I knew that our car was very quick. I did all the race in the back of Pepe, and I showed that after 10 laps, we were very, very quick. And I had was a little difficult in the first start of the race because we put the setup oriented to the constants of the car. And in fact, after 10 laps, the car was unbelievable. I have to thank you very much to my team and my engineer, Calovolo. He did a very great work. We started, as I told you before, not in the best way. In the free practice, it is a new track for us. The first time we didn't know anything about the setup. We did many tests, and I think that today we did the best job.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ciao.
Well, now that's a good point, and I was wondering, I didn't have my notes to see whether Stefano raced here last year. Of course, he only did 2 or 3 races last year, so he won't have been to Suzuka before. His other win came at Salzburg. 2 tracks that begin with S, 2 tracks he'd never been to before. Maybe he should stop going to tracks that he knows and then only win at ones that he doesn't know. And that shows the value of an engineer. Marco Calovolo, his engineer there at Vika Sport, you know, that's why James Thompson loves Marco so much, because he's just got a really good engineering brain. He can work problems out and get them sorted. As Stefano said, he spent almost all of race 1 behind Pepe, spent almost all of race 2 just in front of him, holding him off. So they had set the car up for the long run, and that's why in those early few laps when Pepe's tyres were fresh, the Seat looked like it was going to get by.
Yeah, you're right. It's such an important thing, having a good relationship with a good engineer, and it's priceless. You know, it's as important as getting the car right, and you know, the engineer is pretty much as an important part as the driver. Obviously, the driver's the guy who puts it all on the track, but you know, without the engineer, there's nothing there really.
And just to highlight again, 10th position for Thiago Montero, so the Honda Civic in the points for the second time. 2 races in the points 2 times. Now, you're going to have to try and carry that on again, aren't you? So they came here tied on points. They leave here tied on points. There is nothing between Ivan Muller and Rob Huff, but a tie is not good enough for Huffy because Muller has more wins. Rob has got to beat him on points or win more races and then tie with him. So it's still going to be close. And again, Alain Menu is the closest, I think, perhaps, of the spectators. And maybe now, as he's been saying for a little bit of a while, Alain is going to say again, I think my championship challenge is over. I'm just going to try and win lots of races. That's certainly what Huff and Muller will be trying to do as well, to tie up the 2012 World Touring Car title. After 20 races, we are still a little closer to knowing who our champion will be after race 24. You've got to love it when a plan comes together, haven't you? And for Stefano D'Aste and Vika Sport, pole position here, courtesy of the top 10 reverse grid. Well, they managed to sort out their qualifying struggles and turn a car that didn't qualify the way they'd hoped into a car that certainly raced the way they wanted. Giancarlo Bruni and the Lukoil team celebrate third for Gabriele Tarquini, Pepe Oriola's dad, and the rest of the 20 racing team celebrate second for the young Spaniard. So 2 Seats on the podium, and the race won by Vika Sport BMW's Stefano D'Aste. Nary a Chevrolet driver in sight.
Yeah,
4 Chevy drivers on the race 1 podium, none on the race 2 podium. So first we will have the Italian anthem for our winning racing driver.
I Tarquini dándole. Y Tarquini ahí.
And the anthem for the winning constructor, BMW. Very satisfied looking Marco Calovolo, Stefano D'Aste's race engineer, and a second outright win this season for Vickers, showing again that it's not all necessarily about the big factory teams. The reverse grid that has been a part of World Touring Car Championship racing and European Touring Cars before that is always plays its part. Teary looking farther down there, Fioriola's dad, but a little well up there, I think. And rightly so. He's so enormously proud of what his son is achieving. Still, he's still the youngest driver on the grid. That's it, he's a motor racing dad in the best way possible. He just so loves this with a passion, but he just he has no input into engineering, no input into running the team or anything else, doesn't want to, just wants to enjoy watching his son do well.
No, and he's obviously Pepe's doing a great job at the moment, isn't he? So you can understand why he's obviously a proud guy.
Yeah. And the Vickers Sports team claiming outright victory. The manufacturer's trophy being presented to the boss. And of course, the Yokohama trophy for the top independent also goes to Stefano D'Aste.
What is that on the trophy? It looks like a cow or something.
That's a very good question. I couldn't possibly tell you what the significance of that is, even remotely.
They got the Yokohama independent trophy.
So Stefano with a bit of extra carry-on for the trip home. Now I don't know, does he get to keep his trophies? That's the big thing in contracts these days, isn't it? Do you keep the trophy or not?
There's someone getting enthusiastic in the crowd there, isn't there?
I don't know either. I have no clue. I understood as much as that as I'm understanding of our podium presenters Japanese, frankly. So, yeah, I have no clue what was going on. Hopefully we'll get a little more sense out of Ben Constantiouris. Not always the case, but we'll catch up with him and our top three in a moment. Now, of course, we're not going to, because our outright race winner and the others have to go onto the Yokohama Trophy podium as well. So the outright championship then, Aluminium 38 points behind our joint leaders, Muller and Huff. Muller will win a tiebreak. What's he had so far this season? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 wins. 8! Goodness me, that's rather greedy. He's won almost half the races so far. So Rob Huff needs to beat him on points. That's what you want to do anyway. You don't want it to go to a tiebreak, because as Dirk Muller will attest, going to a tiebreak doesn't always work. That's how come he wasn't a European Touring Car champion and Andy Prio was all those years ago. Andy tied Dirk on points in the final race of the European Touring Car Championship, which, if memory serves, was in Bahrain for reasons that are lost in the mists of time. Bahrain then perhaps a part of Europe, don't remember. But anyway, Andy caught him up on points, and having had 5 wins to Dirk's 1, ran away with the title and then went on to win 3 consecutive World Touring Car Championships. So again, it's all about the points.
This is definitely going to go to Macau, isn't it? You know, there's no way that even if one of them has a really like a rotten weekend, really, it's still, with all the points that are on offer, there's still...
Well, the only possible thing is a Sebastian Loeb falling off a bike and breaking your leg thing, and let's hope that never happens.
Stefano, congratulations on yet another victory in 2012. There was a moment mid-race where Pepe looked awfully close to you, yes?
Yes. In fact, in the first part of the race, I knew that we had a lot of problems. No, not a lot of problems, but some problems due to the setup, because we did a setup thinking to the constants in the race. So in the first laps, the car was not at the top, but when I got the tires to the right pressure and the setup was okay, I continued to push, and then I saw that the gap was bigger. I didn't push properly in the first part of the race to don't ruin too much the tires and to have good tires for the end.
The second half of the race, by the end, you had a comfortable victory. How did the car change? You keep saying that you had a setup change and the car got better. How did it feel? Describe it.
The car was very good. I think that we did a very great job with the setup. And this morning we tested the last thing in the warm up, and we saw that it was very constant. So my car was. I think that I could do other 20 laps to the same lap time, because the car was very, very constant. I was pushing, but I was not pushing too much, so the car was very constant. And then this track is a very strange and technical track. You have to get the right rhythm, because if you try to push too much, you ruin the tires and you go out.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
One thing you can say about Stefano is he never is a yes-no answer man. Great race, great win, and second win of the year for him. That is really good news indeed.
Pepe, your thoughts on what must have been a pretty frantic race inside your Seat?
Yeah, the start was a little bit difficult to me, because the BMW was very fast in the first straight, and I had to fight very hard with Benani in the first corner. But then I had a very good first lap. I think that I do the best lap of the overall, and I couldn't take Dusty, but this track everybody knows and everybody saw in the TV that is really difficult to overtake. So I pushed a lot, and in the second part of the race, Gabriele was really fast. I was looking in the mirrors all the corners, and it was one of the best race ever, because for me it was very difficult to fight with Gabriele. He's a very good driver, and I'm very happy to be in front of him and to be 2 sets in the podium, so it's good for us.
Your father was extremely happy on the pit wall. It's an important day for the Indy Championship. Norbert stopped and you get some very good points.
Yeah, because the last 2 races was very bad for me. In Brazil I get 0 points, and in Sonoma just 3 for technical problems with the engine, and also for me in the qualifying. And now the luck is back for us, I think, and we will fight the championship till the end of the championship. Also with Stefano in third, a little bit close. So it will be a really good race in Macau, and we will have fun all together.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
And Alex McDowell looking like he's going to be part of that battle as well. Well, it was really hard work for Pepe Oriola. When you've held off Gabriele Tarquini for 26 laps, you know you've done a good job.
Gabriele, third position. Were you impressed with the pace at the front of the field?
No, but in this track it's very hard to overtake. To be honest, the Suzuka long track is fantastic. The short one is not very exciting. Also for the show, I think normally we make a lot of action. Not happen this time for the characteristic of the track.
Were you concerned at any point in your mirrors with the Chevrolets coming? Were you surprised not to see them?
No, I changed something between races, and my second race, the car in second race was much faster than in the first one. I had the pace maybe to catch Stefano in the first few laps. I tried to push as much as possible and save the tire for the end of the race, but Pepe make a fantastic race. I mean, no mistake, no big mistake, and he tried to save his position, and in the end it was quite impossible to overtake for me.
Thank you very much, Gabriele.
Thank you.
Carry on, Gabriele. I'm halfway through a mouthful of water. Yeah, again, you know, the way that the car develops over the length of a race like this, you know, it's only a short lap, but it is still 26 times into that heavy braking at the end of the straight, and that's, you know, that's definitely you could see the balance changing between the BMW in front and the two Seats behind as they sort of came and went.
Yeah, it's interesting where the cars are all different. You know, like you said before, they're all complete different shapes, sizes, driven from different ends. But just watching them, you know, going into a corner, one can carry a lot more mid-corner speed, one can brake later, or, you know, they all have their strengths and weaknesses, but it generally pans out quite well.
And Pepe was strong early on. Stefano stronger in the later part of the race, and Gabrielli sort of came on later in the race as well. But again, really tough to pass here. It would, I mean, everybody here in the field, I'm sure, would love to race the Grand Prix circuit. But I don't know, maybe that would be too much of a stretch. Well, Tom has had a bit of a disaster here. He's already been on Twitter, apologised to his Japanese fans, stalled the car at the start, and the least that you could say about that is that it was far from what he had hoped for here in Japan. You know, on row 2 of the grid, he would definitely have hoped to be in with a chance to win this race, or at the very least stand on the Suzuka podium. Unfortunately, it was not to be. 2 wins, though, in the World Touring Car Championship for Tom Coronel. Both have come in Japan. Driver points. Again, Alex McDowell up inside the top 10. Thiago Monteiro scoring points in both races in the Honda. So a point in each race in the Honda, at least, let's say that. 10th place in both. So it's a top 10 car on its first race weekend. And it's very easy to say, oh yeah, well, there at Suzuka, of course it would be. But no, that's not the way it works. That's not the way it works. You don't have home field advantage. You can see the engineers are busy, the brain trust there at RML crunching the numbers as the mechanics are stripping the garage around them. And Harry, it is, you know, hurry up and get everything packed up, because they've got to get on. The shipping containers will leave whether you're ready to put the car in them or not.
Yeah, definitely, and they'll want to get as much of it cleared up and done tonight rather than have to, you know, to worry about it tomorrow. And it just means they can get on with the prepping of the cars if they get everything packed away and get it sorted.
Alessandro Marinari, Yasport and the rest of the crew must be, I would think, quietly satisfied with the way that the Honda kept its head above water. Victory for Stefano D'Aste in race 2 here puts him back up into 3rd ahead of Alex McDowell, who took that place away from him in race 1 by finishing in 4th position. Mikulits now by 11th over 11 points over Pepe Oriola. Only 40 points cover the top 4, and realistically those 4 could all easily win the championship. We have got 2 races in Shanghai and 2 double points races in Macau to decide the Yokohama standings. And you'll hear from Thiago Monteiro, among others, on Inside World Touring Cars on Eurosport on Tuesday evening this week.